This is a Hot Wheels Dragtor casting, which apparently is a combination of a dragster and a tractor. And I guess that's how they came up with Dragtor. At least that's all I can figure. This thing has a metal base, a metal tractor body on the top, and then the two middle pieces are plastic. That's plastic. That's kind of a softer plastic. This is a hard plastic. And then, that metal body, there's very little body there. So first thing, I thought I'd throw the chrome plastic piece over in the Super Clean to get the chrome off of it. While that's happening, let me tell you what I'm building. This month's challenge over at the Diecast Exchange is post-apocalyptic. And it's wide open. Anything you want. There's no particular subject other than it's post-apocalyptic. And I had some ideas for this dragtor. I'm just going to call it a tractor from now on because that's too tough to keep saying it. I don't know why it's kind of a tongue twister. I guess because it's not much of a dragster. And so the fact they call it dragtor is just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. It just looks like a fancy tractor. So, since it's a post-apocalyptic theme for over there, I didn't want to go too crazy on this. I think the last post-apocalyptic build I did was Malevolence, which I kind of went wild on when I did the combination of a locomotive and a drag bus. That was a blast. That was the Winter in the Wasteland 4 build. But this, I thought, well, I just want to have a farmer who's out clearing his fields, post-apocalyptic fields. And I don't know why I had this image of, maybe I watched too many episodes of The Walking Dead. I just pictured like a field full of zombies that this dude had to clear out. That may be a stupid idea, but that's my idea. So I had these wheels. These are actually Real Riders. Both the front and back are from the Real Rider wheel box sets that you could buy directly from Mattel. Those have been on sale off and on, and so I've picked up some of those. And two different wheel styles happen to work well for this. There you can see the chrome is stripped off that center plastic section there at that point. And obviously the body's been stripped down too. Drop the wheels on there just to get a feel for the look. Obviously the axles are way too long at this point. I'll need to shorten those, assuming that they're going to work on this. So I didn't even bother putting the exhaust section on there. I just wanted to get a feel for the look. And if it would roll, even though there's some round sections under the base that I do end up filing down a little bit as well. It rolls great even before doing that. Then I had these Implements of Carnage figures. I've got two little packages of these. The Lord have been sitting around for probably a year, and I never really put people on my builds. But this one being, tractor's open in the back. And so I thought, well, I went to this Bootleggers. It's drivers and passengers set. And, these are soft metal. And I wanted to find the right farmer. And I like this one better, who's just wearing, a trucker cap as opposed to a cowboy hat. Because I wanted it to be a more modern farmer. So I was eyeballing them here, and I thought, I'm going with the one with the regular cap. And then you pick the arms. I had to pick the arms to match. Wanted to get the right arms. And yeah, it was an ordeal. Not really, but it was fun throwing a dude on this thing. I had to cut him down to fit, and I had to cut the steering wheel off the tractor that was already there because it's too big to go with the dude, and the dude already, his hands are already on a steering wheel. The seat was too big, so I cut some of that seat down, or I file it down and get it to the size and shape I want. I also, you might notice that I cut a hole into that plastic center section for the guy's legs to fit in too, because they wouldn't go sideways to straddle the tractor somehow. So here I'm cutting just a couple little beads using axle tube, because I'm just going to cut the ends off those axles. The axles work great, and they're perfect for the build. They're just too long. So I thought, well, I'll just shorten the axles. I'll do that, trick where I put little pieces of axle tube on the end and glue those in place. And it's fast, it's easy, it works really well for me. I have no complaints about it. I'm not trying to make this a super complicated build either. I just wanted this to be straightforward, clean, a farmer out there clearing his fields. Simple concept, not a super elaborate vehicle. And I could see this being very realistic. I think that was part of it. I didn't want to go really hyperbolic on this kind of thing. There were some bolts on the side of the tractor front that needed to be filed down because of what I do next. And you see that the guns, you'll see some guns that I'm gluing onto both sides here. And these are resin printed guns that Time Rider had sent to me for the Silva Challenge boxes. And well, hell, those Silva Challenge boxes are fair game for Silva too. So I appropriated 2 guns. I almost put one on the top of the tractor as well. So there would have been 3 guns facing forward. Didn't like the look of it. I like the guns on the side. I like how it looked. And then for coloring, what I ended up doing, this is just red primer. This is nothing fancy. I like the look of red primer on post-apocalyptic builds. It seems, again, very realistic. And so, the axles have been shortened at this point. I'm painting those wheels. So they got primered as well. And then I just glue those, the center points and spot. And you may notice there's a couple clean spot on the base. I use these little glue dots to keep those spots clear. And now I'm just going to add detail. I end up adding a lot of detail using a variety of paints. I use the silver Sharpies here. I use a combination of Army Painter paints. Oddly enough, my oldest daughter, I think it was like 3 years ago, got me Zombicide paints. And I've used them off and on builds, but I think I used more Zombicide paints on this build than any other to date. And again, that's the beauty of these paints, that we use so little of the paint, they last forever. I did put a healthy coat of Nuln Oil that you see here on the base, and I did do that in other areas as well. As you see here, I did it on the wheels, and I wanted to make the bottom section of it look kind of darker than the rest, even though you'll see me dry brush some silver later over a lot of areas because I wanted to highlight areas and also give it a worn metal coming through the primer look. And you'll see what I'm going for here in a bit. I put the real riders back on it at this point, and naturally the rubber tires look way too good. That's a lot of times on post-apocalyptic builds, the wheels and tires just look too good. Now the guns, with the guns, you notice I did red primer those. But what I ended up doing here is I bust out some black, I think that's Army Painter paint there. I believe so. Yeah, I'd say army painter paint. I paint the guns black. That's like the first step. Going over the red primer, I then paint them black. Because I know the look I want for the guns. I want a metal look for the guns. You know, you'll see how I get there is I put the black down first. Because that just seems right. I have a Q-tip up at the top that I was using to white paint off of areas as well. But it's pretty easy to control the black paint at this point. And so I go over all of that with black, both sides. And it gives that base black gun look that I'm going for. And then what I end up doing to get away from that, to then give it the metallized look, is I start dry brushing silver. And again, I just grabbed a chunk of cardboard. You know, I don't do anything really fancy. And then I dry brush the silver paint over the black to give those barrels the look I want. It gives it the black background or the black shadow areas that I wanted, and yet gave the guns the metal look by doing the dry brushing silver. It also on the ends of the barrels. Then it makes the black, you know, the basically where the bullets are coming out. Basically the muzzle of each gun. Yeah, I'm recording this kind of late at night. And so my brain isn't firing on all cylinders right now. Not that it ever does. Probably much like this tractor. Oh, and there you see me starting to have problems with it staying on the helping hands. And so I just used my own helping hands. Don't ask about the Band-Aid on my thumb. Don't ask why. But I started dry brushing a lot of stuff. And I end up dry brushing the heck out of that engine section. Much more than the rest of the body that I did. And again, it was the look I was going for. You know, everybody's going to have a different perception of how they think it should look. And dry brushing something like this really allows me to highlight things and yet leave a lot of that base red primer behind. So I really enjoy dry brushing post-apocalyptic builds. I probably should start dry brushing a lot of regular builds as well in different ways. It's something for me to think about more in the future. I've recently started dry brushing interiors more. And, you know, when I remember. And here, you know, I probably don't need to explain this. It's kind of obvious, but I'm using Tamiya weathering powders to just make the tires look the way the tires should look and give them a little weathering to them. I don't weather the heck out of this, but I wanted the tires to look like working tires. At this point, I end up putting the pieces all together. That center section I had spray painted silver. It was originally black, that black plastic pipes coming off of there. And so I painted that silver, and then I went over that with Nuln Oil. And there you see me almost drop that piece. And so I'm screwing it together at this point. You're probably wondering, where's the farmer? Well, part of the thing was I couldn't stick the farmer on there now. I ended up CA gluing him in, but I couldn't put him in place because not only did I need him to be glued to the seat, but I also needed him to fit into that hole I had made. And so it was I needed him to lean forward so the steering wheel was in place, and I couldn't do that until this was all put together. So I thought, okay, I'm assembling this now, and then I'm going to add the dude. And you see the clear spot there on the seat. Again, that was intentionally left clear with the glue dot rather than painting over it, because I wanted to glue this guy down. And I wanted it to stick. I didn't want to be sticking it onto paint. So it's like, okay, I got the dude. I got his arms on. You know, see, he glued his arms onto his body. Got that all in place. Now I'm painting him. And this, I don't recall offhand how much of this I show in the video. So we're going to see our, together here, how much of it I did on camera. But painting this little dude was ridiculously fun. And I won't say tedious, but it was interesting. I had two of my finer point brushes that I had available and just did it slowly and with very little paint as I was doing it. I didn't want a super wet brush. And yeah, his sleeves rolled up. His sleeves are rolled up. He's packing. You'll see that. He's got a holster on his side. I decided I wanted him to be wearing jeans. I wanted it to be a somewhat light-colored shirt, but the shirt also needed to be somewhat different color than the flesh tones. He's wearing the cap and he has a beard. All of that's casted into that. And so it was a matter of picking it out. And so again, you can see how slow this process is for me. And you're probably wishing I would have speeded up this part of the video. Don't worry. I know I don't make you suffer through too much more of painting him. I'm just showing how long it took just to paint his arms. Just his arms and his face. It was surprising. It was surprising to me. And it's weird because when I was a kid, God, forever ago, I painted these soft metal military soldiers as a kid. I mean, there was even in nearby Cambria, California, there was a military figure store when I was a kid, and my parents would take me there. And, not often. It was far enough away that we didn't go often. But would take me there and I'd get some stuff and really get inspired by what was painted there. But anyhow, here's where this thing started. The wheels are just idiotic on this thing. I don't know what Hot Wheels is thinking sometime on the wheels. It's just bizarre to me. But here you're going to see where it ended up. And out of all of this, I'm just stupidly happy with the dude. And I wish I even had a broader range of paints in non-auto colors, non-colors that I typically use in cars, things that are typically used, say, on fabrics. Because painting this dude was a blast. And it really made me think of when I used to paint military miniatures. Woo, that was tough to get out. Anyhow, there's some glamour shots coming up. Thanks again for the Diecast Exchange for throwing this challenge out there. I hope you like this build. I had a blast. This stuff is fun. If you're not doing this kind of stuff, give it a try. Sign up for the Silva Challenge. Let me know if you want to take it. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And